Yes. Ready? Okay. It is now 6:35, I believe. I'd like to call this meeting of the Community Development Committee to order. While this meeting is being held in person, we are also offering the option for the public to participate through Zoom if preferred. Instructions on how to attend virtually are included on the City Council calendar item listed on the front page of the missionkansas.org. The public is also invited to participate in the meeting. If you are participating through Zoom, please either add your comment in the chat feature and it will be read out loud, or note that you would like to speak and we will call on you shortly to make your comment verbally. Please remember your comments or questions are visible to everyone in the meeting. If you're a part of our in-person group tonight, please raise your hand but stay seated and we will call on you to go to the lectern to make your comment. When you make your comment, please state your name and city of residence for the record. Also, be conscientious of others trying to speak and speak slowly and clearly. This meeting will be recorded and posted on the city's website at missionkansas.org. Please contact the administration offices at 913-676-8350 with any questions or concerns. Ms. Fulks, please call the roll.
Hayden Tamposi.
Here.
Vaughn.
Here.
Ryder.
Here.
Loudon.
Here.
Crane.
Here.
Carpenter Davis.
Here.
Josie.
Here.
Our first item of business tonight is public comment. Is there any member of the public who would like to comment now on an item that is not on our agenda tonight? Please note, public comments are limited to 3 minutes. Okay, is there anyone in the chat? Okay. Seeing no one, we do not have any items coming forward from the Planning Commission tonight. Therefore, we will move into our public presentations. Our first public presentation tonight is an end of the season Mission Summer Camp and Mission Family Aquatic Center wrap up from Penn, Alimony, Jenny Smith, and Jenna Dickman.
Good evening, Council. It's great to be before you this evening. This is a very common practice for us in Mission Parks and Recreation. We like to take two of our higher profile programs and amenities and share a wrap up of the revenue, some of the expenses, and then some of the highlights that come from serving our citizens. So I'll introduce Jenna Dickman, our aquatics facilities supervisor. And then after Jenna, we'll invite Jenny Smith, our recreation programs and events supervisor, along with Will Hand, first time presenter. So Jenna.
Hi, thank you for allowing me to come and talk about our summer at the Mission Family Aquatic Center. Okay, so some changes we had in 2025. We implemented tap to pay this year, which made things a lot easier. We got our green slide updated, painted, buffed, and polished. We also added the slide tower to be painted with the treads. And then we started selling Robex smoothies in the concessions. Okay, on to our revenues. It's kind of a reflection on how we did. Everything was down a little bit, but in the start of the summer, we started it as a very cold summer. So opening weekend, we actually opened that Saturday and we closed Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday due to colder weather. And then for about the first 2 weeks, we were only hitting in the 70s. So we saw lower attendance, but those are some of the reflections. Okay, and then these are our expenses. These numbers will pretty much stay the same. Outside of that, we do have some winterization costs of the Mission Family Aquatic Center, but so far we're doing pretty good and on pace with our expenses. Cost recovery at about 59% right now. And then, like I said, visits were down year over year also with that slower start to the summer. So
before you move on, Jenna, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think even with the slight decrease in revenues, I think see because the cost recovery improved between 2024 and 25 is that they did an excellent job in managing expenses throughout the season.
thank you. And then some opportunities for 2026. We want to remain competitive in pay. We're lucky enough to be able to have been staffed the last several years and not have any issues, but definitely remaining competitive in pay is going to continue that. And then continuing our employee referral program usually brings in the bulk of our staff, our new staff. And then we are losing a lot of our captains who help run this facility because they're moving on, they're graduating college. So our goal over the next year is to train up some of our lifeguards to become captains in that role. Highlights, we had 110 aquatic team members across 2 pools over the summer. That's the most that we've ever had since I've been here. And then we had fantastic preventative lifeguarding. All the lifeguards took it really serious at in-service. We had a retention rate at about 70%. I still have 80 lifeguards employed right now that want to stay on and continue on through the school year. So it's great being able to be that staffed going into the next year. Positive team and member experience, and then our events continue to be a highlight for everybody. And then so I have some slides with some pictures. This is our world's largest swimming lesson. We started that last year, and it's a swimming lesson that we allow the community to come to for free. And our swim instructors will teach basic life-saving skills in the water. So we're going to continue to try to get the word out and get it to be a bigger program, but we had a lot of fun with it. Under the Sea is probably one of our favorites. We do games and events every 30 minutes with all the kids, and then we end the night with a dive-in movie. And then members get in free, but yeah, anybody else will pay, so non-members. And then pool party for pooches is one of our favorites also. We got some good pictures this year. But that event is fairly popular. We had probably nearly 100 dogs in the second session.
My goodness.
Clearly, it's one of my favorites. Yeah.
What are rentals?
Rentals are our birthday parties that we hold on the weekends or any of the after hours pool parties.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Thanks, Jenny. You're doing a great job. We get a lot of feedback and it's really positive. I think the staff at the rec center has just gotten some really good comments and you guys are doing an excellent job. We're very proud of you.
Awesome. Thank you, Debbie.
Did the smoothies go over well?
They did, not at the start. It was hard, but we worked with the owner of Robex. And she helped, she brought a chalkboard out. She did everything she could to kind of push it. And we coordinated with them and it actually turned out being really good. So we'll probably do it again next summer.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Well, I second what Debbie's saying. You know, you guys do a phenomenal job and it's such a great opportunity for people in the community to sit next to each other and talk to each other and kids to play and just bring joy. Thank you.
Thanks, Cheryl.
Okay. Thank you.
You.
Hello, good evening. Thank you for having us, council, city staff. And I'm going to have Will up here with me, like Penn said, first time presenter. Will is the one who actually runs the summer camp on the day-to-day. I kind of do it up here and he's down here, kind of doing all the fun stuff with staff. So I wanted him to kind of hear how we present because he's planning to present to Parks, Recreation and Tree Commission next Monday. And so please feel free to ask him any questions as we get towards the end. That's what I'm here for as well. But I'm going to kind of lead this presentation for this time. So glad to have him up here with me and thank you. So a snapshot, this year we did something a little bit different. We ran it for 10 weeks. This year, normally we run it for 9 and we added on a week because it was some feedback that we had gotten from parents. There's that dead week before kids go back to school. So we went ahead and tried it this year. We did lower our attendance for the 10th week because a lot of staff starts taking off on that last week that teachers have to go back to school, students are going back to school. And so we cut our numbers down for the final week just to make it better for all of us, and it really worked pretty successfully this year. We are licensed through the Kansas Department of Health and Environment. That's something that we are excited about and are pleased and proud of ourselves to maintain that. We get compliance checks every year, and we very rarely have any compliance issues because we run a very tight camp, so we love to hear that. This year, we had a total of 1,519 campers. Those were the campers overall over the 10 weeks. We did put our max at 160 campers this week. We had 215 unique campers. A lot of our people stay week to week to week and will sign up for all 10 weeks. But this year we had 215, 22% of which were Mission residents. We employed 21 temporary seasonal staff over the summer, which a couple have decided to stay on year round and come into some different roles. Camp fees for 2025 was 171 for non-members, and that's non-members PCC, and then 171 for members of PCC, 181 for the non-members. Next year for 2025, we are planning to increase pricing by $10 on both of those sides, and that's just due to rising staff costs, field trip costs, transportation, and supplies costs. So our new numbers next year will be 181 and 191. We strive to provide creative and safe spaces for campers to learn new skills, discover new experiences, and create lasting friendships. We pride ourselves on the additions that we add onto our camp rather than what we already do. Each week this week, we had some different activities. We had Bainfield from PetSmart come in and do a pet presentation. We partnered with the police department and had them come in, and we had a canine demonstration come in from Osawatomie, and they did a canine demo for the kids, which the kids just loved a lot. And we just do some different things throughout the summer. The new thing that we added this year, which I think I put on the fun and highlights, but I have to say it now because it triggered for me. We did a mobile cow unit where it's a company that comes out and they bring a cow, a dairy cow in a trailer, and they talk to the kids where our milk comes from. They get to see the cow, they milk the cow. The kids don't get to, that's 160 kids touching a cow is probably not the best idea in the world, but she comes and she did it, and it actually went super well. We will have them back every year. So we just try to add those little special things at no additional cost to give our campers those experience. We did do a photographer on site. We do a talent show. Every year we have a Missions Got Talent week. And this year I decided to go ahead and have a photographer come on site. And boy, the kids really hammed it up for the photographer. We also got some really great picture opportunities out of it. Just some really candid pictures of the kids enjoying themselves. This year we did offer us some additional supplementals that parents can pay for an additional fee. Night Schools Chess Camp, Play Well Lego Camp. And then we did our add-ons, and we have a lot of successful add-on programs for our summer camp. It includes swimming lessons, tennis lessons, karate lessons, pickleball, and then basketball skills as well. We fill almost all of those add-on programs, so I think it is an additional value that brings to parents and campers. Will and I have talked and looking to next year, we're thinking about bringing a mad science supplemental camp in. Those are always really popular, and we've been asked to do that. And then some technology or video game. There's a company out there who does some coding that is for kids, and I think so relevant. And I think a lot of our campers would really enjoy that as a supplemental too. So looking to add some new stuff in the future. Revenue, as you can see, again, we had those 1,519 campers or 160 per week. I am going to put a little asterisk there in my words. That week 10, we only took 100 campers, again, due to staffing shortages, and we wanted to stay in ratio. You can see what we brought in here for fees, our scholarship fund. Our scholarship fund is primarily funded through Taste of Aloha, which is a snow cone company. They come out every Wednesday and they sell snow cones to the campers. So the campers, that's the only time they're allowed to bring cash to camp. We get 50 cents for every snow cone that's sold, and that's what we turn around and put into our camp scholarship fund. So it's a great program, great partnership that we have. Total, we brought in $284,538 this year, which is higher. That week 10 helped. Another thing that Will specifically was really successful about was our waiting list. So we implemented a new policy this year for a cancellation policy. When parents register, which our registration opens at the end of January, we do returning campers, and then the next week we do new campers. 80% of our spots were filled up by returners. So I think that really speaks volumes to our program. It's a pretty hard camp to get into. What we decided to do is we wanted to implement a cancellation policy. And so you could sign up for all the weeks you wanted to in January. We'll put you in those weeks. April 15th was your deadline to let us know you wanted to drop or you were going to be charged 50% of the weeks that you signed up for. April 15th was a busy day for Will. Had a lot of cancellations, but it worked because it had time then for us to fill those spots because it wasn't May 1 and parents have already found care. So it really worked for us well. Then the second part of this cancellation policy that we had implemented, by the first day of camp, if you have not let us know, you are going to be charged. You're going to be charged for the spot. You took the spot. You're going to be charged unless you can fill it on your own. And I did have some families who were able to do that. We won't be here. We didn't realize the policy, but here my neighbor is going to come in her spot and we were able to process that. No problem. We will continue to do that. Excellent. Excellent is how it worked this year. So that's one of the reasons our numbers are higher. It's not only the additional week, it's the fact that almost every week was completely at capacity, which was a big success. Expenses, things go up. So we spent a little bit more money. We did make it happen this year with 21 staff members, which was great. We had some really great staff. Ended up spending overall about $165,773. I do have this note on here regarding childcare facility fees. Since COVID, the state was covering both our facility fees and what we call our fingerprinting fees. Every camp staff member for KDHE has to have a fingerprint and background check. The state was covering that up till this year. So that's one of the reasons some of our supply costs went up a little bit more this year than it would have. We now have to take those costs back on, and our renewal fee, which is approximately $1,000. So that's why those expenses went up a little bit and the supplies went up a little bit more. Overall, we had a great recovery rate this year. We had 172% cost recovery. Did okay this summer, and we had a great summer. Yes, it's a good program. Thanks, Wanda. So that's what that kind of looks like there. Some fun highlights, and this is all talent show pictures. So know that we had a fashion show. One group put a fashion show on. Another did a lot of dances. That's the Macarena up on the top. And then that's the kids volunteering to be a part of the magic show. So that's why all their little hands are raised. We did retain 3 staff for ongoing employment throughout the year. Again, the 2025 improvements, the cancellation policy, just awesome. Big success. And again, we offered that 10 weeks. All scholarship requests were funded this year. We were able to accept anybody who had put in for a scholarship request and was able to help them come to our camp. And then we had some enhanced safety protocols and incident reporting this year. We had a couple situations that arose throughout the summer that allowed us to really explore some opportunities for better reporting and incident reporting, which is ultimately just going to make us a better camp and a safe camp for people to bring their kiddos. So we had a great summer. I like to say I have a couple favorite days. First day is one of them. Talent show's the other, and the last day's the third one. So it's always summer camp's great. It's a great program. We love having the kids in the building, and we have a lot of fun with it. So yes, ma'am.
You may have already answered this and I forgot immediately, but do you feel like the 10th week was a success and want to continue doing that?
It's a good question. I haven't decided yet. So we've put surveys out to parents. Parents really loved it. It was a really tough week because we were really short staffed. Will and I were both there the entire week, really boots on the ground with the kids. So we're debating. I feel like I want to say yes. And then I really think about it and want to say no.
Yeah.
We haven't really landed on what we're going to do yet. I will say this, we're working for 2026 camp themes right now. And I told Will to plan for 10. So
There you go.
chances are high.
Well, congratulations. It sounds like a great program.
Thank you.
So part of that too sometimes can be dependent, if I remember correctly, on the school,
Mhm.
when school is out and when school starts. And so sometimes you don't have the full 10 weeks available.
Yep. 100%.
So it just kind of, there's some flexibility there as well.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question about the supplementals.
Mhm.
You charge extra for the supplementals?
Yes.
Okay.
They do receive a discount on their camp fees if they sign up for those programs. They are 3-hour programs. And so out of the day, they're gone from our summer camp for a total of 3 hours. So we do offer them a discount for their weekly fee to our camp if they purchase the supplemental camp.
Then the last question is, the scholarship.
Yes,
That
ma'am.
doesn't seem like a lot of money, $500. So they just get partial?
It is a partial discount. Yes, the whole camp
it's a
fee, it's a
discount.
discounted rate. Yes, ma'am. So this year it was 110 rather than the 181. It was 110 or 100 depending on your membership status. So it's a discount, not a fully funded camp fees.
So how, is there criteria for that?
There
that
is. We follow the Johnson County HUD housing poverty levels. And if they fall within the parameters that we've established, they qualify.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I just want to ensure that we continue to apply for grants
Yeah.
relative to health and recreation. And I know the grant opportunities have kind of dwindled some, but in the winter would be a great time to start applying for those grants. So we make sure we get things through if possible.
Yep, help funded. Yeah,
Jenny. Good
excellent.
job.
Thanks, Debbie.
As always, great job. Our neighborhood just loves this program and can't wait to register. So thank you so much for everything and look forward to next year.
Awesome. Thanks, Cheryl.
Thank you.
Great. Awesome. Thank you for your time, guys. Yes, have a good day.
Okay. Our second public presentation tonight is in the end of the season mission market wrap up from Robin Falks.
Thank you. Unlike my well-seasoned peers, this is my first time having the pleasure of presenting to you a wrap-up from the Mission Market season. So we recently finished up our 11th season at the Mission Market site. And I don't know how many of you are Spotify users, but Spotify has what's called Wrapped. And at the end of every year, you get some fun highlights about what you've listened to. So we have the Mission Market Wrapped for season 11 that I would love to share with you. And then we can talk through some of the highlights. But Mission Market Season 11 included 13 weeks of Thursday night markets, 70 unique vendors, 11 weekly sponsors, and 5 very hardworking, dedicated staff members. We had over 4,000 social media fans and 1,500 newsletter recipients. And we had 5 special events this year. One brand new back to school event, which was really, really well received by our attendees. And then we had our market night kickoff, our makers night, our foam party, and our farmers market week. And I will let you watch this, and then we can talk about what's next for the Mission Market. So 2 breweries, Rock Creek and Sand Hills, they trade off every week. It's okay. Yes, we can't do sound. 5 special events. They were all amazing. 7 tents lost to the elements. We had wild weather this summer, but we persevered. 5 dedicated staff members, myself, Reagan, Leanne, Julie, Alex, and loads of happy smiles from our attendees. Lots and lots of fun furry friends, including a bunny and a cat that travel in a backpack. Every kind of weather, except for snow, but just barely. And a million memories. So I truly am honored to be able to sort of spearhead the Mission Market. It's always been something that I really enjoy as a resident and as a staff member visiting, but as a staff member overseeing the hard work and the dedication from our staff, from our vendors, from our visitors, from our business owners in the area. It's truly, truly an amazing thing to see come together every week. I have to mention our special projects coordinator, Leanne. So I know most of you have met her by now. She was definitely the captain of the ship this summer. She stepped in May when she came on board and just immediately took to the market planning. And she's not here tonight because she and our market attendants cleaned out the market shed this afternoon. So but we thank you so much for the support. We couldn't truly do it without you guys. And I will let you know that next for the Mission Market is we are on the move. So if you haven't heard, Mission Market will be temporarily relocated next summer to Broadmoor Park. We had a really fantastic event with our market vendors in September. We welcomed them out to the site. We sort of all walked around together. We talked about what we envision happening. We don't have any set plans yet. That's what the winter is for. But we did ask for their input as far as parking and arrival and setup and where things should be. We have some great opportunities out there at Broadmoor, a lot more space, a really fun dedicated sort of shelter for the musicians to perform in, playground space for our young visitors, access to restrooms, which I think will be well received by a lot of our visitors, and really some great opportunities for us to incorporate the west side of the city. You know, the market site is where it is, and it's an amazing place, but I love that we are able to bring the market further west to the other end of Johnson Drive and maybe show some of our neighbors in that part of the city what they don't get to see every week at the Mission Market. And then hopefully we have some new dedicated visitors when we move back in 2027. So I thank you very much for your support. I'm happy to answer any questions.
So will we be able to use that parking lot that belongs to the building for the market?
We're working on that. Yeah. So Jenny, who was just here, has some great contacts in that area for the parking lot use. And we are hoping to use both the parking lot across the street and the parking lot adjacent to Broadmoor Park, just north of it, for the market.
Go ahead.
Great job. I don't know how you do it. We have her, she needs 10 hands. She does everything.
Thank you, Councilmember Kring. I appreciate that.
Yeah, just another program. It wouldn't be Mission without the market. It's one of the things we've been going to as a family since we've been here, and we love it. So thank you.
Totally agree. Thank you.
Will we put signage up at some point in time so people know and can prepare for that?
Yeah, so one thing that we've talked about recently is I sort of stumbled upon the Merriam Farmers Market on Labor Day weekend, so after our market had closed. And they have some great signage about market this way, and it's a market day today. So we've taken some of those ideas to do along Johnson Drive. Also some A-frame signage. We use our market businesses adjacent to the current market site a lot to sort of advertise the market. I think it's a great opportunity for us to work with those businesses on the west side to advertise the market in their windows with fun market posters and things like that. But yes, we have a good plan for signage at this point.
Great,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you for everything. It was a fantastic season.
I appreciate it very much. Thank y'all.
Yes. Okay, our first action item this evening is the acceptance of meeting minutes from Robin Falks.
I move to accept.
Just
Thank you. Draft minutes of the September 3rd Community Development Committee meeting minutes were included for review and acceptance in your packet tonight.
so consent or regular agenda? Consent.
Oh,
Okay.
This is not the legislative one, this is the work.
Our final
I move
action item this evening is for approval of the Johnson Drive Traffic Signal Enhancement Project Contract Award from Stephanie Boyce.
Good evening. So as you know, in 2023, the City of Mission jointly with Mark applied for the Johnson Drive Traffic Signal Enhancement Project. That's being administered by KDOT, and that's going to enhance the traffic signals on Johnson Drive from Rowe Avenue to Metcalf Avenue, and that's installing network communications, pan tilt zoom cameras, traffic signal controllers that will allow Johnson Drive traffic to flow smoother, and those will all communicate with each other. It also allows us to have access to view the cameras in real time. So if we get notification from residents that there's an issue with a traffic signal, we can look at it remotely. So if it's on a Saturday and I have my computer at home, then we can look at that. It will also allow us to look at snow conditions. So for our public works team who can help better plan when we need to come in. So that's a little bit of an advantage there as well. Just on the record, it doesn't record, so it's just live time cameras. That our design was completed in June by Olson, and the project was advertised on July 22nd. Bids were due and publicly open on August 26th, and we received 2 bids. One from Capital Electric and one from Wildcat Construction. The bids were reviewed by city staff and its design team at Olson, and the lowest responsible and responsive bidder was Wildcat Construction. They submitted all the required documents, and upon review, there were no discrepancies. And Wildcat Construction is also on KDOT's list of pre-approved contractors. Since KDOT is the administrator and there are federal funds attached to this project, they also had to review the bids, and they issued an authority to award on September 26th. So staff recommends awarding the project to Wildcat Construction in the amount of $159,221.76. This is a grant-funded project which was approved and obligated in May of 2024 by you all, and will be responsible for 20% of that grant. So we have already received most of our reimbursement from KDOT for the design, and same thing will happen. We just submit monthly for reimbursement. Any questions?
I do.
Wanda?
I just have a question about the lights on the bridge on Lamar.
Okay.
They don't seem to, it doesn't facilitate a smooth flow. It's like one light is red when the other is green, and there seems to be a backup. at
They,
the
they are pretty
entrance?
synced up. So our light at Lamar and Fox Ridge is synced with the light at the off-ramp on I-35 and Lamar. Sometimes what that delay is when cars are making that left-hand turn onto Fox Ridge where the wastewater treatment plant is. They get the left turn green arrow. When that left turn green arrow goes to a yield and cars are going northbound on Lamar, they don't have the opportunity to make that left turn until the intersection is clear. And so that will back up a little. Also, if you're going northbound and there's a train coming, that also causes a backup. So we've had Operation Greenlight, who our intersection at Lamar and Fox Ridge is on the Operation Greenlight, and again, connected with the traffic signal. So when we do get any concerns, we have them look at the timing and the light, and we haven't identified any issues. It's operating like it should. So a lot of those backups are due to traffic issues where they just can't clear the intersection and make that left turn.
So are they synced with the wind-up side too?
Yeah.
or- Oh, they are?
Yes, the two should be synced.
Oh,
Yep.
Any other questions? Okay. Regular agenda or consent?
Yeah, we already obligated it. so
Yeah.
I think we're already on the hook for it, so
Yeah.
consent.
Okay,
Thank
consent
you.
agenda. Okay, discussion items. That concludes our action items. We do not have any discussion items this evening, but before we adjourn, Ms. Smith, are there any department updates for the Community Development Committee?
I don't know if Director Scott or Deputy Administrator Scott, do you want to give an update on the walk and roll?
Just a reminder, we've got Spooky Walk coming up next Friday, October 17th at Streamway Park, 6 p.m. Boarding will begin just adjacent to Broadmoor Park, and we'll take a short trip on the bus over to the park. So look forward to seeing you all there in costume, hopefully with your littles. And then just an update, our orange slide is getting repaired this weekend. So they'll begin work on Friday. It's pretty exciting on such a quick turnaround.
Penn, did you guys step up your advertisement efforts for Spooky Walk this year? I feel like I've seen flyers everywhere.
Everywhere, yes.
Yeah.
It's been a
Little,
focus.
yeah, at the daycare, they're everywhere.
It's been a focus. We've tried to jump into Metricool, which is a scheduling platform for social media, and that's allowed us to, like, it sends ping reminders to send out hard copy flyers. So yeah, we've kind of leaned into that a little bit more.
Yeah, dentist is sponsoring, or is that on the flyer?
I don't know.
Because that's hilarious.
It's pretty neat, right? Candy issues, come see me afterwards. Thanks.
Thank you.
It's called synergy.
Hey, so we had our kind of official kickoff for the Rock Creek Corridor Phase 2 study last week. We had our first steering committee meeting last Thursday evening. Seems like a lifetime ago. And Councilmember Choicey, Councilmember Davis Carpenter were both there. It was a small turnout, but a mighty turnout. So there was a lot of good feedback from those that did participate. Then we had our walk and roll event on Saturday. That everyone kind of convened in the parking lot of the Johnson County offices there at Lamar and Martway. And we had one group of bikers that kind of took off, and we had a couple of groups of walkers that basically took the trail all the way down to Metcalf, and then kind of through the parking lot of Target up to Broadmoor, then down Broadmoor, Martway, then back to the parking lot. So about 2.5, a little over 2 miles. And it's a beautiful day. Couldn't have asked for better weather. A lot of good feedback, a lot of good input. We had about 20 folks that participated in that. So just kind of a good representation of the community. We're now kind of looking at our sort of next engagement process. So it's more just focus groups and try to reach out to the residents that live behind the trail. Kind of Glenwood and that neighborhood back in there. And then we want to try to reach out to some of the folks that live in Wellstone and Mission Square, some of the people that use the trail. We had some representatives from Mission Project at the walk and roll. So we'll kind of reach out to that group as well, have some focus group meetings with them. So just kind of engage specific user groups to get some more specific input about that. So we actually have a web page that was created thanks to Robin. And so that's up and running now. There's a survey in the web page. Anybody can go to the web page and kind of read through it. There's a storyboard that sort of explains the first phase that was done and what we're doing with the second phase study, as well as a survey that can be taken. So we're hoping to get everything kind of wrapped up before the holidays, and then probably have an open house sometime, maybe 1st of January or so. Kind of once we get through the holidays, and have some folks look at ideas and concepts and get some feedback, and then present something to you all sometime in February or March. So that's where we're at.
This is a sidestep. I just want to thank Brian. Brian's been working with me on a property in Ward 3 that required a great deal of historical knowledge and research. And despite all the other things he has going on, he stopped and gave a full rendition of what's happened at the property between commercial next to residential and the landscaping, et cetera, and forward that to the neighbors who are going to be very appreciative that you did as much as you did. I can't thank you enough. That really went a long way.
Did a
It's
deep
not
dive into some
ideal.
whole planning commission minutes, yeah.
It's not ideal to have a resident right next to commercial.
Yeah.
You got trash issues, all kinds of things, and I so appreciate you responding so quickly. Thanks, Brian.
You're welcome.
Okay. You want to sign off?
That concludes. I'm sitting right next to it. So that concludes the Community Development Committee. Thank you.
Okay. It's now 7:11 PM, and I'd like to call this meeting of the Finance and Administration Committee to order. While this meeting is being held in person, we are also offering the option for the public to participate through Zoom if preferred. Instructions on how to attend virtually are included in the City Council calendar item listed on the front page of missionks.org. The public is also invited to participate in the meeting. If you are participating through Zoom, please either add your comment in the chat feature and it will be read out loud, or note that you would like to speak and we will call on you shortly to make your comment verbally. Please remember your comments or questions are visible to everyone in the meeting. If you are part of our in-person group tonight, please raise your hand but stay seated, and we will call on you to go to the lectern to make your comment. When you make your comment, please state your name and city of residence for the record. Also be conscientious of others trying to speak, and speak slowly and clearly. This meeting will be recorded and posted on the city's website at missionks.org. Please contact the administration offices at 913-676-8350 with any questions or concerns. Ms. Folks, will you please call the roll?
Chomposi,
Here.
Bond,
Here.
Ryder,
Here.
Loudon, here, Kring, here, Carpenter Davis.
Here.
Josie.
Here. Our first item of business tonight is public comment. Is there any member of the public who would like to comment now on an item not on our agenda tonight? Please note, public comments are limited to 3 minutes. Seeing none, we'll move on to public presentations. We don't have any public presentations this evening, so we'll move into action items. And our first action item this evening is acceptance of meeting minutes from Robin Folks.
Thank you. Draft minutes of the September 3rd Finance and Administration Committee meeting are included for review and acceptance in your packet tonight.
Is there a comment or recommendation?
Move to consent.
Consent. The next action item this evening is for consideration of an ordinance authorizing the issuance of industrial revenue bonds for the Mission Flats LLC project with Laura Smith.
And I didn't check with him ahead of time, but we have Mr. Kevin Wimpy and Ms. Chanel Perez with Gilmore Bell here with us. But this is the final step in completing our IRB or tax abatement process for the Mission Flats project. So this is really our first kind of foray into tax abatement. So I might invite Mr. Wimpy up just to kind of share with some of you who weren't here through the initial approval processes. There's nothing to negotiate. All of the negotiations were done at the front end of the project. And so this is the final step that allows them to take advantage of the 10-year tax abatement. So Mr. Wimpy, if you would, or yes, absolutely.
Good evening. Chanel Perez with Gilmore and Bell, also joined by Kevin Wempy, who represent the city as your bond counsel. So I could do just a quick brief overview of IRBs and then kind of along the way, talk about where we're at with this project, if that works out. So IRBs, we always like to say, are a incentive granting vehicle that grant two different incentives. So that's a property tax abatement for a period of up to 10 years and an up to 100% property tax abatement. And that's always excluding the 8 mills of school district capital outlay levy. Then the second incentive that can be granted is a sales tax exemption on construction materials and furniture, fixings, and equipment that a company or developer can utilize as they're constructing the project. So there's a two-step process that a city needs to go through in order to issue IRBs. That first step is going to be the adoption of a resolution of intent and also some more attendant notice and procedure requirements that are required pursuant to the statute. Now here, that was accomplished in 2023 with the resolution of intent adopted that the City of Mission stated their intent to issue an up to $20 million of IRBs for this project. Also in 2023, you adopted and executed a pilot or performance agreement. So that performance agreement set forth the percentage of abatement. So it's a 70% abatement in this case, as well as your policy goals. So that's going to be attainable housing as well as your sustainability requirements under that pilot agreement in 2023. So we can call that step 1 under the IRB procedure. Here, there's also a step 1.5, we can call it, where you assigned that pilot agreement or performance agreement, as well as that resolution of intent to the first entity, to the second company that's in front of you this evening. And so we can call that step 1.5, but overall step 1 of the IRB procedure pursuant to the statute. Now, step 2 is going to be the adoption of an ordinance to issue the IRBs. That's what will come before you on October 15th. So the important thing to note about that step 2 is that issuing bonds kind of sounds scary, but it's very different from, say, the general obligation bonds that you issued earlier this year. This is a buy your own bond deal, meaning that there's no credit liability and no liability for repayment on behalf of the city. The developer is just buying their own bond in order to access, again, the incentive granting vehicle of IRBs. So with that, happy to stand for any questions.
Questions, comments? Is there a recommendation? Or Laura, did you have anything else, or Mr. Wempy, anybody? Go ahead.
Chances you saw experiencely collating and stabling at the beginning of the meeting.
Sure.
But Mr. Tom Jensen, who is the attorney representing At Home Apartments, who acquired the property in 2024, is here. So
Certainly.
any specific questions, I'm sure he would be able to answer them as well.
Yeah, I just in general was hoping quickly we could speak to the policy goals that were mentioned and where we are on those, and just our satisfaction that those are being met, and the general project state and timeline to completion, that kind of thing. Just a little overview.
I'm Tom Jensen. I was here a couple times last year for this process, for the assignment of the performance agreement. And just because of some scheduling challenges, we weren't able to have our project manager here, but I have a text. So forgive me as I read some of these things verbatim. They're very informative, and they speak, I think, directly to the questions you're asking, including details on our lease-up efforts with the attainable units from our property manager, Dana Bream, who was here last year, unable to make it tonight. So without further ado, I can give you we'll start with the progress on construction. So if you recall, when we accepted the assignment when we sought and you granted the assignment of the performance agreement, none of the deadlines were compromised. They all stayed in place for construction completion in December of 2026. So we are going to beat that deadline by a year. I'd like to say, as we promised, I think this is a little more optimistic than we expected, but we had a very good collaboration with neighbors, construction. And so the report on the Green Globe certification, we'll start with that one. Let's not. Let's start with construction completion. I've got a couple different pieces of media to source here. So building 1 should be complete by the week of 12/15. So we're right around the corner. Building 1 is probably the small building.
Okay.
Thank you. And building 2 is going to take about one week beyond. So December 22nd. And they'll start with owners walks, which is when the ownership comes through and they see that everything is completed and there's some box ticking that goes on. They expect to go for a TCO walks as soon as countertops are installed and remaining plumbing is done, sinks, disposal, lavatory, faucets. Worst case, the tops will be arriving to site on November 10th. Temporary certificates of occupancy by floor will be applied for by 11/24. Anticipating a floor per week with owners walks following thereafter. I know this is a little technical and kind of boring, but it helps paint the picture a little bit for you. And then the goal is to complete landscaping before, in time to be able to CO all at once, before the freeze. And the expectation is, and this is I'm reading verbatim, we will apply for this, is in the full CO, certificate of occupancy, as soon as possible. But if I don't have a heart attack, it will be by 12/25. That's the project manager. So that gives you a sense that we'll hopefully start putting people in units in January. Now I'm going to go to more detail. Kevin was kind enough to share what might be the subject matter, and then I put it into a format, and everyone's trying to be responsive to me. So anticipated day of completion, since we were talking about the temporary certificates of occupancy, technically building 2 the end of November, building 1 mid-December, and then we'll all land the whole project CO about a week after that, or at least apply for the CO. Pre-leasing. 15 units are pre-leased, 5 of which are attainable units. So no reason for everyone to recall in detail, but there were 8 attainable units, and there were 2 studios, 4 1-bedrooms and 2 2-bedrooms. The current mix is the only ones remaining to be leased are 2 studios and 1 1-bedroom. There are also applications pending. So what we did is we partnered with the Kansas Housing Resources Corporation because their criteria for tenant selection matches the attainable units, the 60% area median income, and then the HUD standard rental rate. And that has been a great partnership. It's the first time At Home Apartments has gone directly to basically say the state loves the project because this is like a funnel for referrals. It's going to be a great partnership because as units become available, and in my experience, I've done a lot of affordable housing development, units don't turn over that frequently because it's just a good deal. And particularly in a community like this, it's very nice. A lot of the challenges that sometimes accompany affordable housing are absolutely not present here. This is a place where people are going to want to stay. But if a unit turns over, there's a long line waiting to come, which I assumed, and I think I assumed correctly, that council and with the advice of council with the advice of council,
Other council. Council.
specifically set the criteria to match the affordable, the affordable standards where there's going to be an abundance, unfortunately, of people looking for that kind housing opportunity. So that's the status with, I think, probably the top of mind from council's perspective on our progress. There's still a lot of optimism. One of the challenges that I'm aware of from having done a lot of these kinds of affordable housing deals, going into the winter months is always hard. So having all those units leased by CO, I would say, knock wood, that there's going to be at least 3 qualified tenants among the 5 pending applications. I will say this, though, unlike a lot of low-income housing tax credit deals, there have been some people whose criteria isn't quite fully vetted by the state agency. So the income levels are a little bit high here and there. And so those are the people who aren't able to qualify. And then naturally we show them some of the market rate units, but there's an appreciable difference in rent. And so they're not necessarily transitioning into those units. Now, Green Globe certification, generally how that worked, and this was, I worked with a lot of projects where you have the incentive is points toward qualifying for the subsidy if you meet some environmental standards. In this case, Green Globes meets with the project manager, the developer, and the architect ahead of time and says, here's the standard, here's what you have to build to. Then they come up with the plans and they submit it to Green Globes, and Green Globes says, yes, build this. And then they'll come back at the end and say, and give their thumbs up. It's substantially similar to historic preservation tax credits that come in where they say, okay, show us your plan. We'll let you know if it qualifies. And then we'll come at the end and make sure that you actually followed through. That's what's going to happen here. And that will happen in December too. And I think that's it in terms of updates relevant to a lot of the important parts of the performance agreement. Any questions? Councilmember Crane.
I have 2. Number 1, can you tell me how many residential homes were removed prior to this placement of the apartments?
I don't think any did because they were commercial buildings, but Brian is an expert, as I learned a few minutes ago.
There were 2 former residential houses on, there was a bunch of properties that were all kind of combined into one. And there were 2 residential type homes that had been purchased by ScriptPro were being used for ScriptPro operations. So there was no families living in the homes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And secondly, what is the rent range, please?
Oh, I unfortunately, and I'm prepared to supplement and get back in touch. I did not ask for that information. That's my fault. But I think it's the difference between maybe $800 a month for
Studio.
for the attainable level units, and then $1,200 or $1,300 for the full boat. But I'd have to confirm, and I'm really truly speculating on that score.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
I just have a question. So once rent is set, how long do they get that rate? I mean, when do you raise it? How often can you raise it? Is there something set in by law that you can't, or how does that work?
There's good guidance within the performance agreement. It has to adhere to a HUD rate that is published every year. So here's a quirk for how this works. The early leases will commence, they'll be a full year, and they will commence when we open, which will be December. And the rental rate for that year gets announced in the spring by HUD. So HUD sets that rate, which means we can't, and unfortunately, I'll tell you that the rental rate just kind of gradually always goes up. We don't have those instances where it just plummets. Even in the economic downturn of 2008, when there was a lot more people qualifying, the rent still gradually went up. I anticipate that to still be the case, but that means that even though there might be a rent increase in March, everyone's lease is still in force for the next year. So even though the national standard will be probably a little bit higher for the attainable rate beginning in the spring months and lasting until the following spring, people will still be at the rate that was in force when they signed their lease. So everyone will be a little bit delayed in terms of increases. Although if something should occur where we still have attainable units for lease when that rent adjustment from HUD occurs, then that rent would be remarketed at the HUD rate.
One more question.
Yeah.
So I'm taking it that these are not for elderly people because they've got stairs. Is that correct?
I'm not sure if,
Probably the
I think
studio.
it's probably, I would imagine that there would be an ADA requirement that there be in elevators. And the performance agreement also requires that these units not be clustered together to avoid marginalization of people who fit a different selection criteria based on income. So theoretically, according to the performance agreement, and this is also, I think, by design because it helps the property managers manage the leasing of the property, the attainable units can theoretically float around from one lease to the next, depending on what's available, provided we maintain 8 units with that mix and not clustered together. When I say mix, I mean 2-bedroom studio, 1-bedroom, according to the specific criteria in the performance agreement.
Any further questions or comments? Is there a recommendation on the ordinance?
I'm fine with consent. I don't know if we want to draw more attention to, like, I mean, well, you know, like. I also mean, consent. I know that's unusual for me on this kind of thing, but.
Any objection to taking it to the consent agenda? Okay, we'll take that to the consent agenda with a recommendation. Thank you very much for everybody who presented. Okay, our third action item this evening is consideration of an ordinance related to an updated Cora fee schedules with Robin Folks.
Thank you. So as you may remember, at the August 2025 City Council meeting, we presented proposed changes to the city's open records request related to procedures and fees changes to meet newly revised state statutes. Almost immediately after that meeting, the Kansas Secretary of State's office or Attorney General's office released their own guidance based on those state statutes. And thankfully, we were pretty much in line with their interpretation of the new state statutes with one exception. And that exception is that we were feeling like the new state statutes still allowed us to charge a 25 cent per page copy charge when we produced paper records, which is pretty rare. Almost all of our records that we provide are digital, but occasionally there's a need for paper records. So the Attorney General's office does not agree with us, and they have released guidance that pretty strongly states that the city should not be able to charge the 25 cent per page copying fee. So because the Attorney General's office's interpretation is important, since they are the people who enforce the Open Records Act rules in Kansas, we want to be in compliance with their thoughts. So a new ordinance has been drafted by the city attorney to remove the 25 cent per page cost from our open records request fees cost schedule. So we will no longer charge a copying or printing fee for any record requests that we produce on paper, which again are very minimal. I think we've had one paper request production since I've been here in 3 years. So I'm happy to answer any questions, but this is for approval of an ordinance amending Chapter 105, Article 4, the municipal code related to the copying charge of 25 cents per page.
Consent?
So this ordinance is basically just, if I'm reading it right, it's just charging our actual costs. So we have to figure that out as we go.
Yeah, so the biggest changes cost-wise for the new state that the legislature put through were that we can only charge the lower of 2 different rates, whether it is $40 an hour or the employee's pay rate.
Mhm.
So if the employee who needs to produce the records pay rate is $22 an hour, we can't charge $40 an hour.
Right.
$40 an hour was our standard hourly rate and pretty standard across the board in the state until this new legislation came out.
So is it similar with the pages now that we have to figure out what it costs to print off?
It's
and toner
basically
and-
would cost us staff time, the staff time to
Okay.
figure that out. We just wouldn't
Probably.
be charging for copying. Thankfully, like I said, our paper production is very low.
I
If
was
we
gonna
had a
say.
large paper production project, we would have to reconsider that though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody told me consent, so is that, are we good with consent? All right, we'll take this to the consent. agenda.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. There's always time to do it twice, yes. Okay. Our fourth and final action item this evening is for consideration of an updated City Council Policy number 111 related to the sale of real property and equipment. From Justin Carroll, take it away.
All right, good evening. This is the first of hopefully going to be a series of policy revisions and updates we're going to start bringing forward to get those just modernized, tweaked, and brought to the 21st century in some cases. So stay tuned on that front. So the first one, this is that we're going with is the sale of real property and equipment. So as you recall, we have the state statutes require us to, the council has to approve surplus equipment before we can get rid of it. And so what this policy seeks to do is actually still do that, but establish a threshold for when items actually have to come to the council for approval. So previously, anytime, we just did a big computer replacement, phones, anything like that, we'd have to bring on that spreadsheet. We'd come in twice a year for your approval. So we're just recommending the policy be amended to establish a threshold at $5,000, which is the same threshold we use for the city's kind of asset inventory and depreciation schedule that we use and update each year for the city's financial audit. So it would just tie it to that same threshold. And then anything below that, the city administrator would have the authority to approve the disposition of those items. So that's the proposed change for this policy, and I'd stand for any questions.
Are there any questions? Consent.
All right. Didn't even have to ask.
Question, but also very good.
Anything to talk? Speak, I mean, should we?
Are you complaining? Do you want me to say regular, Jen? Consent agenda, please.
Because the regular.
I did want to say, I'm excited that you're looking through all the policies. I think probably it's high time, as Laura mentioned, and it's good to know what we're enforcing on ourselves. So thank you.
I do.
Yes, please, Councilmember Vaughn.
The question I have is, so the $5,000, is that, I'm not sure, is that a total for like you have 5,000 or 6 items and they total 5,000, or it's 5,000 threshold for each
Per item.
per item?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, I think the consent recommendation stands. Thanks, Justin. We do not have any discussion items this evening, so before we adjourn, Ms. Smith, do you have any department updates?
Yes, you will. We believe have something to discuss next week. It will be added as a new business item, but it looks like we're going to secure several additional easements on the Johnson Drive project, which will show up under new business. So we'll have an opportunity to kind of talk about that. You'll have a special presentation for an award that the police department has received, so it will, and a financial report. So you can, and what? And several business updates. So, and we will have a work session ahead of at what time? So our meeting will start at 7, so 6 o'clock. We'll do a work session on hearing from Mr. Scott and Mr. Capello, our building official, about kind of the process and timeline for consideration and adoption of the 2024 building codes. So I know that's been a long time coming. That was originally intended to be a discussion item on committee this month, but vacation schedules and some other things caused us to delay that. So I don't care. Chief, you want to go first and then?
Good evening. Mine's short and sweet. I just want to let you know we had 2 recruit officers graduate from the police academy. So you might see 2 people riding around in vehicles for a while they go through their 4 to 5 months of field training. So if you see 2 people in a vehicle together, that's probably why. Then we'll have another one graduate from the Law Enforcement Training Center in Hutchinson. Oh, and yeah, and we finally got a CSO hired that will be starting on October 20th. So
Very well.
So closer to being fully staffed.
yes, and we actually have several applicants. So
All right.
Reminder, Saturday.
yes.
Chief's gonna send an email.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
All right. I feel like I've spoken to you all so many times tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So I am very excited to let you know, and you may have already seen this on social media or however you get your fun news, but several of our downtown merchants have come together, primarily driven by our friends at Rock Creek Brewing and Sand Hills Brewing and Prairie Sailor, to plan an Oktoberfest event for us. So they came to us mid-September and said, we really want to do this. And we said, let's do it. So we are excited to support their endeavors. We will be closing Johnson Drive during the event. So the event will be Saturday, October 18th from noon to 6. They have 2 bands. They have, 7 food vendors. They have a few of our Mission Market vendors that'll be out there. Rushton Elementary PTA will be out there with some fun kids events. They're hoping to have some pumpkin painting and then like a sort of photo backdrop booth with an old truck and some pumpkins, very fall. So they're really excited. They've been working hard. It's been fun to sort of hear their progress and give our thoughts and ideas about what works and what doesn't work at the market site. And this will be sort of second to last hurrah at the market site before construction starts next year. But please do mark your calendars and plan to join them. The event is conveniently planned for immediately following the end of the Go Green Environmental Fair at the Community Center, so you can walk yourself just a few blocks east on Johnson Drive, and Oktoberfest from noon to 6 on October 18th. Thank you.
Excellent. Glad to hear it.
The longer we sit here, the more I think.
It did trigger. This Saturday morning is the Northeast Shredding event over in Merriam. The paper and the East cycling event from 9 to noon at the, can't think of it, this Nations Holding Building on 67th and Merriam. So that's what we partner with a bunch of other cities. NELA will be there with a bunch of other volunteers. So there's that event if you have anything to get rid of. And then before you head to Oktoberfest next Saturday, go to the Go Green Environmental Fair at the Community Center, which is vastly improved offerings this year. So we are doing a repair cafe. They are doing a repair cafe they're offering, and they're doing a test drive with they'll have EVs out there that you can actually test drive as well and stuff. And you get, I think it's a gift card or some voucher or something if you do a test drive. So a lot more options as part of that. And then, yeah, you can walk, don't drive, and go over to Oktoberfest. Yeah, right down the road.
Stagger home.
Perfect. That's right.
Where else Chief will get you.
I also wanted to announce that after considerable interviews, we have finally hired a facilities and maintenance supervisor who began this past Monday. His name is Clint Boileau, and it's got some French roots. So if you forget how to pronounce it, he's been very gracious in reminding us, but he's a great addition to the team.
Excellent.
I think that concludes it.
Okay. Any last ones? Throw them out there. Okay, that's it. It is now 7:43 p.m. and with no further discussion, this concludes the meeting of the Finance and Administration Committee. Thanks, everybody.